Okay, so let's have a look. So we're gonna go ahead and start with our windows and our doors. Why is this stuff so important? This is so important because remember how we also have this walkway. So we need to kind of like guess that we have a spacing for the walkway, that we have a door that is big enough, and that we then also have like a little trim that we can fit on top. So as you can see, all of this kind of like ties together. And once we have this one spacing, we can base everything on this. So that is the general goal for this. So if we go ahead and let's go into Blender. Now, for this piece over here, yeah, that is actually a tricky one. I need to have a quick look at it. So let's go ahead and let's create like a very basic cube. Shift A mesh cube. And by the way, I need to move this up because else I can never see my settings over here. And then for this cube, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the scaling. Let's see. And I'm just going to use these scalings for this, most likely. Now, actually, you know what? Let's turn on snapping, increments. And snap this to an absolute grid over here. So that we can just, here, see. That way we can snap this properly to our grid. And then the nice thing about this is if you press tab to go, of course, into your edit mode. We can press 3 to go into face mode and select this face. And it will just snap everything to the grid. So what I'm guessing is 3 grid points by 1 grid point is like the base. And then we can always like make it higher. But when we make it higher, we will simply move the building up and down. So that's what I'm talking about. So we want to have a basis. And then on top of that basis, we can move things up and down. So let's say that this is going to be a pretty good base. Actually, you know what? Having this piece, we can literally just create a new collection. Drag this in here and just call this, what was the name? Walkway straight. There we go. See? So we can literally just do this. So we already have a walkway straight. We can go File, Export, FBX. Walkway straight. And export this. We can go right away, jump into Unreal. Where's my folder? Here's my folder. Gotta love 3 screens. I recently got a new screen. So now I can just quickly do this. And then I just need to set my uniform scale to 0.5, remember? I just need to do this once. It will always remember your settings after the first time you do it. But we didn't do it last time, so we do this. And this should now fit perfectly. So with snapping on, if we drag this in. Well, okay, rotate it a bit. Here you can see that all the snapping just works perfectly. Okay, so that's already a bit higher. So we got this point. Now we want to have a door. And the door needs to be actually quite a bit higher. So let's go ahead and make the door 2 meter 50. That feels really large for a door. But okay, maybe that was just the way that it was in that time. So, or the person is really short. Yeah, let's do like 210, 220 for a door. Let's go ahead, Shift A, mesh, and just do like another cube. And we can just use like increments. And what I'm going to do is I'm gonna go ahead and yeah, this door, I can try to do basic scaling, but I'm not sure if that will actually work as well in this case. So let's go in the Z-axis, 2.2. Yeah, see here, that probably would not work. So what I'm going to do is because this door, logically, this door needs to sit almost all the way to the top. So logically, if we go ahead and we scale this down and we don't use snapping or anything like that anymore, we're just going to scale this in. And it's just going to be like mostly like a test. So we got this one. And now I'm going to go in my edit mode. Let's go ahead and let's move this. Here, let's turn on increments. Let's move this up until this point. Go back to object mode, maybe like scale it down a little bit. And I just need to fit it. I'm going to fit it and then it should be fine. So let's go ahead and call this door_A, for example. Just because in case we want to make more doors. Export it. And let's just give this a go. So the beginning part I always find a bit annoying. Just because everything needs to kind of like work together. But because of the character, I can basically just guess my width and scale. Normally, in a game, or if you're working on a game, you have all of this predefined. You have technical artists that make everything perfectly logical for you. In here, what I can, for example, now notice is that, yeah, okay, so it turns out that our wall is most likely way too high. So that was then my fault. So let's go ahead and, if you want, you can also actually export this. If you want, what you can do, just to get like a better guess, is you can right click, convert SK menu to static asset, and press save. And now with this one, you can right click on your asset that it just created, asset actions, and you can actually export this. And you can go in here, you can say from Unreal, just call this base character, for example, and export it like that. And it gives us a better guess in here that if when we import this in here from Unreal, now as I said before, the metrics will most likely mess up again, so we'll see how it goes. So let's import this. Yeah, here, see, too small. So I think we want to probably scale it up by oh, sorry, it has imported level of details, which I forgot to turn off. So there we go. Okay, now it is too big. See, that's what I mean. So let's go ahead and go into our scaling, and let's set this to like 0.1. Or maybe I can set it to 1 over here. Nah, see, that is the tricky thing about this. That the scaling, I don't know if it needs to be 0.01, 0.05 maybe. You see, it just completely messes it up, all of the metrics, and that is the annoying thing. I know that there is a way that we can fix this. However, out of my head, I forgot what it was. But it's not really worth it, because I can just go ahead and I can just kind of like, it might not be the most accurate way, but I can just go in and I can compare this kind of stuff. Just to get like a general feel for things. Like this. And then we just need to go ahead and we just need to move this down. So this might be a little bit more fiddly, but this is just often the way that I do it. Because, yeah, I don't know why. It's just the way that I like to do it. Only if I need to work on video games where we have very specific metrics, I would actually go in and do something very specific. But this door is also not really a normal metric, as you can see. So for this, we're gonna go ahead and let's now scale it in a little bit more. I think our character needs to be a little bit lower. Let's export this. Let's see, so we're almost there. Okay, so the width of it, no, the width can actually go a little bit less. Let's scale this in a little bit more. Let's move this down. Probably a little bit. I feel like that this character actually does nothing. I just want to show you how to import it. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to delete that. Because I don't feel it's useful. It will actually only add confusion to my scene. I think something like this is pretty good. So over here we got like, yeah, we got like this door. If you want, you can of course do like the whole measurement thing and see how close that we got to like 1 point or 2.1 meter. Although it does not matter because I'm not going to go for those specific metrics. Here, so if this is like 1, we can do like 2.1 or something. 2.2, so yeah, so see, we got quite close to it. So 2.2. If you want, you can of course scale it down a little bit more if you want to get like the exact metrics so of 2.2 that we had in mind. And I would do that simply by going in here. By the way, I sometimes press Alt-X to go into X-ray mode. And I do this so that I can select everything. Because in Blender you cannot well, I'm sure there's settings for it, but you cannot just in the default select everything if you cannot see it. So I just scale this down, and just like that I can get it pretty much, maybe with like a difference of like a few centimeters, I can get it pretty close. So I can go ahead and I can do this one last time. Fine. Honestly, I don't really care about it too much with stuff like that. Especially in those times, the doors were not all perfect metrics. They were probably a little bit uneven. So, okay, so we got our door over here. So that's pretty good. Now, what we're going to do is we're also going to go ahead and create a few windows. And we want to go ahead and create a window above this door. So that's going to be our first thing, actually. Well, now, first of all, and see, that's why I said that it does not matter too much. It's because now I'm going to go ahead and go into face mode. And I'm just going to press E and I'm just going to extrude this to give it like a nice window. And don't make it a square window. As you can see, it's not square. So this is going to be like our metric over here. Now what we can do with this is we can turn off the plane while short. We can right click, create a new collection and call this door underscore A. And grab your cube and throw it into door A. This way we can also turn off our walkway. And then with this door, all we need to do is we need to turn on snapping to vertex. Go to our Maxivis tools and then snap this to like the corner over here. Turn off edit pivot again. And now what we can do is we can snap to increments. And then we can just snap this to our grid. Or what you can do is you can go ahead and you can go into item and set this to 0, 0, 0. So we have our door over here. That's pretty good. Now, just to indicate that this is going to be a door, what we can do is we can go in here, and if you press I, you can inset this. Now, sometimes this happens. When you do your inset, it is not accurate anymore because we did a lot of moving around, so your transforms are a little bit messed up. If that happens, what I recommend you do is you can go to Object, Apply, and All Transforms. Now, one thing is that I actually don't really like using shortcuts. Not in Blender, not in any program. I like to use menus myself. And that's what I will be doing. I know that Blender is a very shortcut heavy program, but I'm not going to learn the shortcuts of every single program I use because I use 10 plus programs. So that's way too much to remember. So what I like to do is whenever I use something, I like to add it to my quick favorites. So you just right click, add this to your quick favorites. And this is then the one shortcut that I have is that when I press Q, I can over here and I have my quick favorites. This shortcut, if you go to preferences, key map, I don't think it is in here. So if you just type in quick favorites, set it to whatever you want. I set mine to Q just by selecting it and pressing Q. And now that I've reset all my transforms, the only one that I really use is Ctrl B for bevel, I for inset, and E for extrude. So now if I do I for inset, you can see that now this works. So what I can do with this is I can go ahead and I can, just for my blockout, I can, oh, sorry, my snapping was turned on. I can go ahead and I can just like push this in. So this is going to be like my window. And then it has like a little trim above it, which I also wanted to go ahead and create. So let's make my window a little bit down over here. And then what I'm going to do is it looks like that I just want to hold E and just extrude this. Or hold E, press E. And then we can go ahead and we can select these pieces. Now extruding these will not work. And this is because we need to go ahead and we need to go, I have it over here, extrude faces along normals. You can find it over here in face, and extrude faces along normals will basically allow you to extrude them based upon the direction of every face. This means that this face will go ahead and go in this direction, this face in this direction, and everything like that. Doing this does sometimes, as you can see over here, change some stuff. So what you can do, wait, I'll show you again over here. So as you can see, when you do that on the corner, it does not always extrude straight. What you can do is you can select this side. You can simply move your scaling to scale it a little bit flat. And then in your resize tab, set this to 0. This way you know that it is 100% straight. And then over here, it looks like that we just want to move this one out. There we go. So that's pretty much like our door. We can go ahead and do like another inset over here if we want. Maybe go to edge mode by pressing 2 and move this edge up. And then what we can do is for this one, let's go ahead and extrude this in like this. And I can also go ahead and I can just delete these pieces over here. So right now, if I press delete, I just want to go ahead and go faces. No, sorry, I don't want to do that. I want to go... I always forget. I need to set this to a new shortcut. Is it faces? Yeah, it is faces. I just forgot to press X. Delete faces, okay. If I just do delete, right click, assign shortcut, delete, right click, remove shortcut, there we go. So now if I press delete, it should do my faces. Well, it does do your faces, it just brings up your menu. This is something I can change. Oh god, I have not done this in a long time. So key map, delete. If I set my key binding to delete, I can go like here. This is was it the outliner? I need to look. So basically in here, I forgot which one it is. It's like because you can do like delete faces, or maybe it's in here. I don't want to spend too much time on it because I don't even know what I'm doing. Yeah, here. In any case, I will figure it out off camera. But if you press delete, what you can do is you can turn off the fact that it will show your menu. So I just quickly forgot about that. In any case, what we want to do with this door, now that we have this, is we can simply go ahead and go to vertex mode. Select all of these vertices. Scale them flat and then set this to 0. There you go. And then if you want, you can turn on snapping and just snap this to absolute grid, which will mean that it will be exactly on the bottom over here. There we go. So this is like our blockout for our door. We can go ahead and we can export this once more. Door A. And now we also have a window over here. And so for the window, you can see that the window is at the same level. So it's quite a large window. And it's just like at a lower level over here with our door. If we go ahead and we just go in and press Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V, for example, or you can press Shift-D and then right click, we can go ahead and we can add a new collection and call this store window. Actually, let's just do store window and move your door into your store window. So for our store window, for this piece, what we can pretty much do is if we go ahead and select this base over here, let's just simply move this down. And, oh, let's turn off snapping. Let's quickly turn on my door just so that I know roughly how high I want this to be. Let's do, I'm just guessing, something like this looks like a nice height compared to what we have over here. Once we've done that, we can go ahead and we can, if you press next to the one, you have the little wavy button. I always forget what it is called. It's even called just like a dead key inside of my key registration. But you can just go ahead and, looks like that we need to go to like the right view. We can then go to face mode, Alt X, and just select all of these faces and just press delete. And I want to, delete faces. Next to that, we can go ahead and I will show you another one, which is the bridging. So if you go ahead and select over here these two edges, over here by using Shift, not Control. I keep forgetting that. Select these two edges and now you want to bridge them. For this one, you can go to Edge and Bridge Edge Loops. Or you can go ahead and do what I do, which is Q and press Bridge Edge Loops, and that will just add a quick bridge. Now having this one done, we can go ahead and we can go to our Maxivis tools. We can, wrong button. We can go ahead and press Edit Pivot. Once again, we can snap this to the vertices and just snap this to like the base. And then what we can do is if we want, we can go in here, set this to 0. Do that after you've turned off Edit Pivot. And set this one to 0 over here. Just like that. Now also a nice thing that we can do is we can turn on the wireframe toggle. This way we will always see our wireframe over here. However, you can also do that by going down here and just pressing the wireframe toggle down there. Just depends what you want to use. In any case, File, Export, FBX. And this is going to be Store, Window. And that was it, Store Window. There we go. And now, so why was all of this so important? If I now go ahead and I'm just going to import my store window Where are you? So I'm doing this on my other screen because I'm a little bit blind and I cannot seem to find it. Oh, there you are. Store window, import. So and we can also right click on our door and press re-import. So this was important because we can now use this image to roughly guess what the base size of the front of a store is. Because we can just guess like the distances between them. If we go in and we just go ahead and move this up over here. This is fine. We can just have our door over here. Yeah, there we go. So it's quite a thin door. And what I can also do, so is this even by engines? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So yeah, 4, 4. So now I know that my door is exactly in the center. What I can then do is I can give it like some spacing. So I can say, okay, I want to have another door, but this time it's going to be my store window. Just move it up so that it is at the same level as your door over here. And now you can basically say, okay, so there's a little bit of space here, here, and here. Now, it would be nice if this space, it feels a little bit, yeah, that feels a little bit cramped, to be honest. Although it would have been a really nice metric if we used that. I'm not sure if this is good, because what it will do is it will just make everything feel a little bit short. Let's say if I would go for like an ideal version, I would bring a little bit more space here, a little bit more space here, which means that I will probably like extend this out to an uneven number. So right now it is 5 by 5. Oh no, wait, it might not be an uneven number because we need to lower this down anyway. So let's go, let's see, let's do on my 10. No, you need to be like 8. And you need to be like 12? 8 by 12. Let's try that one. It's always a bit tricky to do this because of the tiling mode. So if we do this, we need to just keep that in mind when we do our tiling. So let's do 8 by 12 and let's re-import. Okay, so that's pretty good. So we got like a little bit of space for our trim. So 8 meters high is quite nice. And then if we go in here and move all of these 3 like in the center a bit more. How is that? Does it have too much space, too little space? This is the important one. I might be slow right now, but this is the important one because this is the one that from which we will make everything. Yes, I think I like this. So this is going to be our metrics. Our official metrics are going to be 8 meters or 12 meters long, 8 meters high, which means that for the longer wall, for example, Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V, we can add a new collection. Call this one plain wall underscore long. And then for this plain wall long, it would be 8 meters by 24 meters over here. Like that. And then we can go ahead and we can also export that one. So just like that, plain wall short. This one is going to be plain wall long. We have now 2 metrics over here. Okay, that's perfect. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in my walkway. And my walkway needs to be 12 meters long. And then what I also need to do is I just need to re-snap it back to the grid. For which I don't think increments is going to work. No, so I need to do an edit pivot, snap this to the corner. Turn off edit pivot and then just go ahead and set this back to 0, 0, 0. There we go. So 12 meters long. And this one is 3 meters. Yeah, 3 meters feels fine. Or, sorry, I say meters, I mean grid points. Because right now I cannot really trust the grid anymore. But I can still use it for like, to make everything nice and even. So this one is going to be walkway straight. So if we go in here, right click, re-import, walkway straight, check. And then we will have our plain wall long. And these pieces always need to be like double. If we do not do that, then we end up just messing things up later on. So, but right now everything is even numbers still, which means that if I turn on my grid snapping, I can nicely snap this to grid. And then I can, for example, click and drag and turn my plain wall long into here. And now you can see that now we have a long version, which for example will be great to have in like the back like that, as you can see. And we will have a short version. Okay, now that we have a solid base, everything will go a lot quicker. So in our next chapter, we will continue creating our blockout pieces. But as I said, everything will be a lot quicker at that time.